All right, guys, welcome to a fresh start. Today we're going to interview Pejman Ghadimi, one of my mentors and favorite friends. Let's go!
Hickory dickory dock, back from the dead is a miracle doc. They counted me out, raising my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script, changing the plans. Up to the top and I'm taking the fans, making them jump, making them dance, making them jump, making them dance. We about to change the game, we out here taking names. Let our voices rise, let them reach the sky. We about to change the game. Let's go.
All right, and we're back. Listen, man, today I'm proud and happy. Back in the day when I came to America, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, be in business. And I was on YouTube looking at different creators, different mentors. But one that stuck with me the most. It was Pejman. So welcome to the show, brother. Glad to have you back. How you doing, brother?
Always good to see you. It's always entertaining to see you because we always start the conversation with, here's everything I've done well and here are my 3 mistakes.
It's funny, guys, because like this is like ongoing like conversation where like I'm talking about my failures to him because obviously I respect him and I appreciate him, and he's like, I told you this before. It's like,
Yeah, and it's like the same conversation we've seen over and over and over.
it's like, Jackie, one more time. But listen, I know who you are, millionaire, successful entrepreneur, and as well the owner of Exotic Car Hacks and Third Circle Theory. But if you don't mind, tell them who you are for the audience.
Yeah, so I'm the guy that most of the internet doesn't like when it comes to cars because I basically shit on everybody's dream on the internet. So I own a company called Exotic Car Hacks where I teach people basically how to leverage exotic cars for wealth preservation. I teach people on Watch Trading Academy how to basically buy watches, like watches you wear, to make crazy amounts of money.
And what is that, by the way?
That's a Patek 5990 1R.
How much is that?
Quarter.
Okay, buddy.
So, I mean, I came on your show last time. I was wearing my RM, and that clip went viral when I was like, I feel poor wearing Rolexes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, fuck this guy. Like he's a piece of shit, whatever.
Well,
So-
guys, behind that, he's actually a nice guy. Don't let it fool you.
listen, I'm just a direct guy. I say what most people think in their head, which is just reality. And that's one of the reasons the internet doesn't like really love me, because I make people feel very uncomfortable.
That's true.
Because I point out the truth, right? And sometimes we don't want to face the truth. And so when you come and talk to me, I'm usually like, hey, this is how shit works. And people are like, fuck you. Like, I don't want to hear it. So,
It's true.
right? Like, and so it doesn't really like help them. But nonetheless, I've done quite a lot of things and I own a lot of companies. I own a company called One Off. I also have authored a dozen books. My most famous book's called Third Circle Theory. And I became really famous online for building my online company, which Secret Entourage, back in the day, before the podcast existed and people were very popular on the podcast. We were doing something very similar way, way back in the day in 2008. So,
I remember.
yeah, so a lot has changed then. And now I just kind of like basically get really rich buying what people want to get rich to buy. And I just keep buying a lot of it. And I collect cars. So I'm really well known for my car collection, watch collection, and just continuing to kill it on the online game.
You have a wealth of knowledge about cars, of course, watches, and business. So real quick, you were an ex-banker back in the day. You did very well in banking.
Yep.
Actually, you were one of the youngest people to make it as a manager.
18-year-old bank manager, yeah,
Right.
without a degree.
Without a degree.
Yeah.
Just I had to add that in there. So how does someone start making the right moves in 2025? I feel like most people nowadays are kind of concerned about what they should get into, what business. But like as an entrepreneur, also as well as an ex-banker, what's the best money move you would say to make nowadays for the new year?
So I'll tell you what's actually funny is this is a very unpopular answer. The popular answer would be, let's get into crypto, let's get into this, buy that. Historically, young people stay poor because they focus so heavily on what's my next move this year instead of where do I want to end up in 10 years and what moves do I need to make this year to get on that path. Like, in my generation, because I'm 40 fucking years old, like, we knew that it took 10 years to get successful, etc. But these fucking kids, they see on the internet that other people getting rich, like, in 10 minutes, right? Oh, yeah, I gambled on crypto, I made money. So their expectation of getting rich has changed significantly. So can you make some gamble moves, like buy some XRP, buy some Dogecoin, whatever fuck you're buying these days, and make some money? Sure. Should you be doing that? Sure, you can jump on these trends too, but historically, you should also have a really good financial 10-year plan, which is who the fuck do I want to become in 10 years? And what are some of the things I want to be or be doing in 10 years? You know, and I think if you think that way, then typically whatever you do this year, you're going to do more of that shit next year. And you're not going to ask the same question again next year or be back at square one, right? But it's not a popular answer, because the answer is not, if you do this, then in 6 months, you're going to be on this show talking about how you got really rich and everybody knows you. But it's just this misunderstanding. So I think right this year, there's a couple of things people need to pay attention to, which is there's a serious financial shift coming in the economy. I don't know what it is yet, but I know around April, I think we're going to start seeing some very different financial policies. So like I've been following what's going on around the world, and I think that that's coming. So what do you do for that? So I think whenever we have financial shifts, I've always been an asset person. So I'm always like, if you own real estate, if you own cars, if you own watches, if you own things that basically move value or hedge inflation or things like that, you're going to do better than people that have nothing. So historically, it's easy for me to also be here and be like, buy Ferraris, buy $10 million houses. But people are watching this like, where the fuck am I going to get money to do that?
Got to start somewhere.
Right. So it's not really fucking productive that someone's going to be able to do that or not. But I think there's a financial shift coming, and I think there's going to be a burst of mini opportunities in the crypto scene that people need to pay attention to. I think if you haven't played in crypto, regardless that you're a gambler or long-term investor or not, you need to start paying attention to that, because I think that this administration is going to focus on that, despite it being correct or not, or whatever people believe.
Yeah.
So I think there is a point there to pay attention to that scene, because there's going to be huge gambles people can take to advance themselves financially, even if it's short-term money that can help them finance a new business or something they want to really do. So I think that's going to be a focus point. Asset acquisition is a huge thing for me this year. I'm putting a lot of money, like a couple of $1 million into acquiring more assets, real estate, cars, watches, as much as I can, because transitionary kind of inflation and also just looking at currency exchanges like we're talking about could potentially happen in April, could cause asset pricing to go up. And the cost of entry has been nonstop going up in America for the last 4 years, right? So people are priced out of homes. And if they're looking at this from a financial lens, I'm going to tell you something that basically people are starting to talk about, but it is really has been kind of an assassination, and it's the assassination of the middle class. That shit has been killed, like to a degree where it's very sad, because I came to this country as an immigrant, and then as an immigrant, we had the middle class to help us, right, raise ourselves to this next level.
Yeah.
You start in poverty and you move up. And when you remove the middle class, you basically take the participation away from people that could get to the wealth class. But you're saying you can't afford to buy a home, like because you just can't enter because the pricing of homes is too much. And you're forcing people out of certain areas that are popular, again, pushing the middle class out to states that are not going to have as much growth and things like that, so because they can afford to live there, right? The cost of better education for their kids, you know, is basically going astronomically higher again. So there's been this thing going on in this country for the last 4 years that basically all of the industrial societal values we've basically been raised on over the last 30 years
are going away.
They're getting shattered. I mean, they're like non-existent, right? Like institutions are buying real estate instead of people. You know,
Rock.
yeah, and they're completely fucking the system up. But this is why you have such a divided country, generally speaking, and this is what's happening. But it's a transitionary period that unfortunately this generation is going to have to deal with. Like some generations sometimes have bad periods financially.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Listen, man, the question most people ask is, what's my purpose? Obviously, they want to make it in life. I know you said before, middle class is almost like pretty much like dead.
Yeah.
So they're starting from ground zero. Either they're getting into school or want to start a business on the side or work for somebody right now. Now, myself, like I said earlier, I came to America 10 years ago. I was trying to find a way to be successful. I worked at AT&T and Chick-fil-A, trying to find a way. Obviously, you know, things took a turn 5 years later. Now we're here on the podcast. But it wasn't luck. It was more like finding things I could do to improve my lifestyle, improve my mindset and business, and of course, find a mentor like yourself. So I guess the question is, in your own way, how does someone find their purpose, if at all?
So purpose is also a progressive game. Again, it's not okay, I'm going to figure it out. It's divine sent. Someone's going to tell me immediately, what can I do to become exactly who I'm supposed to become? And then I'm going to do that the rest of my life.
Right.
It's progressive. So as young people watch this again, it's not something you can say, well, by you telling me this, I'm immediately going to find out what I'm going to do, right? So let's start with what is right one step before purpose, okay? And that's being purposeful. So let's focus on something easier for people. Instead of saying go straight to the top and figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, start thinking about what did I choose to do right now? And how do I change my mindset from a person that is forced to do something to choosing what I want to do? If you chose your job and you like it, get really good at it. Be purposeful in your job. If you chose your relationship, be purposeful in that relationship, right? If you don't, then let's go one step backward again and look at choice. Choosing the job I have. What is my 10-year plan? How does this job right now, even though it's not my final job, help me get there? Most of us want financial independence,
Yes.
and we need some level of financial independence before we can be free and focus on what we want to focus. There's a famous quote that says, you have to do what you need to do before you do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is figure out how to earn financial independence, which means that whatever career path you choose, you have to ask yourself, does this align with the level of financial freedom I want to have in my life? I worked a banking job and I looked 10 years ahead and I said, I was the fastest growing banker in America. I kept getting promoted every 6 months, kept killing it. I love my job. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was that guy. I thought I would be a CEO of a bank 20 years later, right? But one day I stopped. I was driving a Lamborghini literally while I was in a corporate America job. And back then it was a big deal because
How did people treat you being younger? With a
very
Lamborghini?
they hated me. Like I've always been hated. I've learned to live with that. It doesn't matter, right? I drove a bright orange Lamborghini and I would literally park on the handicap zone, and that's one of the reasons I got fired, because I was an asshole.
Yeah.
But I used to park this car, and then one day I look around and I'm trying to convince everybody that they don't understand how these cars work and they should buy Lamborghini too. And all of these VPs are looking at me and they're like, what is he talking? Like, why would I want a Lamborghini? How can I even afford one, right? But I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm trying to convert 10 people who drive black sedans to work every day and are happy with their mediocre fucking life to want a great life. And I realized, I'm like, I'm not the fit here. There's nothing wrong with them. They want this shit. I don't want this shit. So I thought about it and I said, if I work my ass off, and I'm a brown fucking guy, so I wasn't going to make it to CEO or anything.
What's your background?
I'm Persian. So as a Persian guy, I was like, they're not going to fucking make me CEO. The fucking CEO is a Jew. I was like, he ain't going to make me a fucking CEO. So it's not going to work. But in my head, I was like, I'm the fastest growing guy. Imagine what I've done by the age of 23. Imagine where I can go by like 50. But in my head, I'm like, what if I'm 50 and I get exactly what I fucking want? What if I'm the CEO of this bank and it actually happens? Would I have the financial success that I want? And would I be the person that I want to be? And the answer was fucking no. So it was like, even if I win at the game I'm playing, I'm going to lose. So why am I playing this game? And so I had to figure out that I don't want to be in this game. So I had to get out and figure out a new game to play.
Do you believe that most people, or some people, are just made to just work a job for somebody else? Like, they shouldn't be entrepreneurs? 'Cause
No.
I think that, like, we all have a choice to make, but people just kind of, like, settle down into that lifestyle. You know what? This is it for me.
So no, because people also have to understand that they can't start at the top. And being an entrepreneur is a progression of having skills and bringing creation to the world. So the way this works is, if you're unskilled, you came to this country, you don't know shit, you don't know how things work.
Nothing.
You work places to gain skills and understand how the system works. And a lot of times, I'm sorry, but even on shows like this, we counteract this thought that the Matrix is evil and that the Matrix is there to keep you kind of like stuck and you can't do better or whatever, and this is what they're there for. The Matrix is a system of structure that basically teaches you how to belong to something, to a society, how to act, etc. It's not structure so you can thrive, it's structure so you can survive. It's your job to figure out how the game is played by playing the smaller games and then evolving past it.
Yeah.
But people get stuck in it because they get comfortable with it and they take on debt and they're like, oh, I had some success early on. I bought a lot of stuff and then now I owe a lot of people and I don't know what the fuck to do. So the real game is figuring out that being an entrepreneur is an evolutionary state of figuring out you're part of the system And then you realize, there's other people building things in the system so that other people participate. So how can I elevate myself past the system? That's what I talk about in my book, Third Circle Theory. Like the evolution of a human comes in 3 stages: self-awareness, and consciousness. The self-awareness stage is where identity comes in play, and where a person or human being can take their identity and say, how can I turn myself from participating in the matrix to creating for the matrix? And so when they take that leap, that usually comes like after you've mastered a bunch of shit. But kids these days, they're like, watch too much fucking TV, and they're all like thinking they're going to be the exception, the Zuckerberg, and I'm going to fucking build this shit and make $1 billion.
A top streamer right away
right,
off the bat.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I've been on YouTube for like 10 fucking years. I watched my first YouTube videos and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, holy shit. I'm retarded, right?
Mine are terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But you know the difference is we fucking did something.
Yeah, we tried.
We tried. And we sucked. But we didn't suck for the moment. We sucked for our moment, right? And then we got better.
Yep.
And we weren't focused on, I want to be a YouTube creator. We were trying to share a message on YouTube, and practice got us better at becoming better YouTubers, right?
Yep.
And we actually took a very different path, me and you, because, you know, you went down the path, we were talking about this earlier, the path of popularity, like, and getting known on YouTube and stuff. And I took a very different path where I said, I don't give a shit about being popular. I want to build real fucking businesses over time, and I want to use YouTube as an engine of business.
Yes.
And that's something a lot of people don't do because it takes a lot longer to do. It's easier to become relevant faster.
And go viral, yep.
Yeah, viral, and focus on that and new content all the time. And I didn't care for that. I was like, I don't give a shit if I'm famous or not. What I care about the most is if I can drive serious fucking money in business. And so I built businesses, and then I used a social engine to basically fuel kind of people knowing about these businesses, not so much about my next trick as a circus monkey, you know?
I think for a lot of people, what you're saying is kind of like inner work has to be done, and you have to have a drive where you're pushing towards becoming better versus the actual cherry on top. Like you're not running towards like the Lamborghini. You're running towards becoming better as a person and individual learning skills until you get to that point where you can actually see what's happening in real time with the game.
Right. The Lamborghini is the byproduct of your expertise in something. Yeah. Like I always tell people, even plumbers get on Lamborghinis. They just have to be really good fucking plumbers. They're going to have a good plumbing business and make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But people don't think that way. They go, how do I get to the Lamborghini faster? Right? And that's the trap. And that's the trap that makes you repeat the same shit every year because you're back at zero again. Because you're like, I ran, I got hurt, I came back, now I'm back on the bench. I'm running again next year. I'm hurt. This time I made it 6 months. And you're back in the same loops over and over and over, trying to figure out your next fucking trick. Instead of realizing that if you stuck yourself to the same trick and got really fucking good at it, eventually it would pay off enough to basically get you to your goal.
Yep.
But most people say, well, if every year I'm not making more money, I'm basically like losing. And there's a lot of truth to sometimes you work. Like I worked 5 years for free on the internet just because I was like, I don't know the internet. So instead of expecting the internet to pay me, I was like, hey, I'm just working to get better at this. And then I was like, I cracked the code. So suddenly after year 5, I went from, hey, I'm making 40 grand a year on the internet, right? To suddenly like, I made $1 million on the internet. It's like, holy shit, you know?
Hold on real quick, because this is very important. I remember back in the day you made videos and like, they weren't the most popular. You might get like 10K views, 20K views, maybe 30, 40, which isn't a lot, but it was still getting traction. But you brought in people that trusted you as an authority figure, a mentor, like myself. So let me ask you this. If I'm someone that wants to be an authority in a certain area or expertise of career or maybe like venture, e-commerce or like maybe trading, the focus should be making content and being better at that. And then as a byproduct, people come to me and stay, right?
Well, how about even better? What if the content was actually based on you not being a fraud and actually becoming a really good fucking trader, if that's what you want to share with people?
Yeah.
But people, you see, this is why they fail on the internet, because they're more focused on, I want to look like a really fucking famous trader so I can sell something and then be like, I'm going to get rich at that, instead of actually being a real fucking good trader. I've survived the internet now since 15 years I've been on the internet.
Yeah.
I've been selling the same courses, and people are like, oh, all these course sellers are scammers. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this shit for 20 years in my life. I have mastered it to the point where I know every fucking thing that there is to know about it because I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing it, right? And then as a result of that, I've grown not just a huge following, but I can teach what I do because not only I'm still doing it, I'm really successful at it, but I've done it for 20 years nonstop, and I continue to do it now. So this is the part people don't understand. That's what makes you survive, the authenticity around who you really fucking are.
What's the most you ever made selling Exotic Car Hacks, the course? I bought it as well, by the way.
So how much did we made on, like, in a month, in
I
a
remember
day?
we spoke one day for Thanksgiving, Black Friday sale.
Yeah, my Black Friday sales
How
are
much-
huge.
Okay. Guys, if you didn't know, this is crazy. How much did you make off that one course for Black Friday?
Okay, this last year?
The highest year.
Every year we've done better than the year before.
Okay, this year.
So this year we made like $5 million, like $4.7 million.
How much is this course again?
$300.
Guys, I don't know about you, but $300 for a course and making $5 million in what, 2 days?
No, it takes us like about a week. We do the sale the full week.
Still insane, bro.
I know.
What the heck? You know what? People ask me.
And here's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Exotic Car Hacks is my smaller course because Watch Trading Academy almost makes 1.5 times as much.
I've met a couple guys that bought cars selling watches from your course, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know what? They asked me, like, you're fresh. I know you bought this course, but does it work? I'm like, why don't you buy it and find out? You see all my cars, right? You see what I've been through, right? It works. So real quick, guys. By the way, channel is up and live, pinned in the comments. A fresh start, man. This is me giving you guys my network, my good friends, my millionaire friends that are successful, how to become better in life. Join the channel. It's link down below. I appreciate you guys. Okay, real quick, Pejman. So, all right, we covered the business mindset, how you should think. Now, let me ask you this. We both love cars. You know, obviously speaking, we've done things differently. You've
Very
been
differently.
very successful in your career buying cars. Hate you, man. So, listen, he's bought cars.
And I have a much nicer collection than you know. I'm just going to put that out there because I've done things right slowly.
Okay.
I've accumulated a much...
This is what I will say is true, right? I rented a Lamborghini to go fast. You walk there to go fast. You get what I'm saying? So that was a better approach. But how are you able to game the market and kind of like capitalize on it and make money throughout the whole period of time while others lost money in the car market? Because you've bought cars that I'm like, wow. And you made money on cars. I'm like, damn, 200K off this car? How are you doing this?
So, first off, I'm patient. That's the big difference in any asset acquisition game.
And not emotional like me.
Zero. So I hold zero fucking emotion towards things.
Yeah.
Like, most people get rich to buy shit. I get richer buying shit. So remember the difference in mindset, right?
Okay, I like that.
So I look at every single purchase that I ever make. Doesn't matter, it's my house, cars. I have all the shit I want. I have nicer cars than most people will ever have in their life, right? Then I'm not telling people, oh, I don't buy shit and you're going to buy expensive stuff or I'm buying. No, I'm buying better stuff than most people, but I'm buying it more carefully and understanding how to buy it without wanting it. So I buy it when it makes financial sense and I basically continue to leverage it over time and I don't get in a rush to get in and out of things. So you may buy maybe like an SVJ and I'll buy an SVJ. But you'll buy an SVJ because you get emotional and you want an SVJ. I'll wait till I find the right SVJ at the right price, bring it down, and make sure that it's the car everyone else will want. And I'll leverage my skills as the reason why I bought that car. Meaning, if I couldn't get a good deal, I'm not buying that car. I don't give a shit. But you get emotional and you buy it anyways.
So, you sold the SVJ that I actually wanted, man. I'm trying to find a photo right now. I think I sent it to you this morning.
The hottest SVJ, I would argue that was the hottest SVJ in the country.
Hands down.
Yes.
Mo, if you don't mind, put this up on the screen, Bills as well. But explain to him how this SVJ worked. It was Hermes interior.
Yeah, so it was basically every car, and I have now I don't know if you saw my new Revuelto, that...
Blue, right?
Yeah, so I did something new. Instead of full orange, I did full Tiffany blue.
Hold on, I'll pull up real quick. I put it in the chat if you guys don't mind. But, okay, so SVJ, you bought the car, you sold it twice, made profit twice. What's that story?
Actually, I sold it 4 times.
4 times?
4 times since I got it in 2020. What? So 4 full times I've bought this car between 6 and 700, and I have sold it right about 900K every time. and I bought it back for 7, sold it for 9. Bought it back for 7, sold it for 9. Again and again and again.
How'd you know when to buy and when to sell? Because
So
that's not normal. Bills, could you bring that real quick? The car so they can see it. Wow,
So you just have to know exactly
that's it right there.
that the hottest car, I'm telling you.
Oh man.
You have to buy the right exclusive cars, and you have to make sure they're never for sale. That's the trick.
Okay.
The nicest things in the world can't be available. Nobody wants what's available. So that's how you market the game. Like basically I find the rarest assets. If I buy a Bugatti or Ferrari, whatever I buy, I'm buying it for me because I like it, but I'm buying it in a manner that is so unique that there won't be two like it ever for sale at the same time.
Is it spec, color, all the combined?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Rarity, spec, desirability. Like, is it a color people want? Is it creative? You know, like meaning, is it something different that people haven't seen but tasteful? Not like a green interior on a black car. You know, that would be like a vomit. Instead, it's something that people will recognize, want to fit in and be part of, but they can't have access to it.
So, okay, for most people, buying a car is a liability, 100%. Like you're gonna lose
100%.
money, 1,000%. You turn it into a business where you make money off of buying cars. Hence your course. What's one thing people need to look out for when buying cars as well, not to lose money? Because, for example, nowadays people are buying cars and they're heavily upside down in the car and they don't know what to do.
Let me tell you, the first thing is the cheapest car on the block is always the worst car to buy. Never buy price. Never.
But Pejman, I just made some money. That's all I have. I don't want to blow the bank.
You're not. It's about money retention. So poor people typically think in today's cost. Like, think about every poor person buying a car. What's my monthly payment? That's the first thing they think about. That's it. They're like, can I afford my monthly payment? Can I afford my down payment? I'm buying that car. That's how they think. They don't think about the ownership cost of that car. And I'm not even talking about maintenance and all that shit, because all these cars are made by fucking Audi these days. So it doesn't even matter. They're all reliable. But what I'm talking about is, in their head, the way they think about things is, what can I afford? Not what is it really costing me. And this is the culture in America that banks have been really good at feeding down your throat for the last 30 years. So you've come to accept that what you buy is based on what you can afford to pay for through credit. So this is a big problem in this country, because even when people buy like leases, they think in their head, well, a lease is a better financial tool. And then you have fucking retards on like Suze Orman and shit that are like, you should lease everything because they're bought by the banks. And what you're not realizing is you're buying the worst depreciating cycle of a car, which you can just avoid altogether and not buy that and still have the same car. So the argument is, if I told you this, if you bought an SVJ and I bought an SVJ at the same exact price, but the SVJ you bought, you paid $900K for, and then you sold it for $700K. Well, you lost 200 grand. But what if I bought a better SVJ for 750 grand and I sold, and let's say I don't know anything about my course, and I sold it and I lost 50 grand and I sold it at 700. We had the exact same experience, except mine cost 50 grand. Yours cost 200, right? Okay, same experience. So we're not saying don't buy an SVJ, and that's assuming you don't know any of my tricks. Like, you're just being a educated, intelligent shopper.
Yeah.
So that all I'm saying is that we're in 2025. The fucking internet is a real thing. YouTube is real education. You can learn about concepts that have been hidden from you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fucking watch YouTube. Like, half the fucking world is already talking about this, right? That some cars don't depreciate, others do. And there's still fucking retards on the internet that are like, cars are liability because fucking Robert Kawasaki said don't buy luxuries, or fucking Dave Ramsey or whatever fuck some jerk off said live humble or some shit, and you're supposed to not enjoy life till you're 80 and your dick doesn't work, you know?
You know, it's funny. Typically, when I hear, okay, Fresh, Myron, I want to come buy a car, bro. Should I buy a new car? What should I do? And the first thing they do say is, what's the payment I have to make on this car? And that's the typical response. People say, what's the monthly payment? And I think that's a test. It goes to, you know what it is? It's more like a idea that I can afford the payment, like you said, and if I can afford the payment, then I can afford the car.
Okay, but rethink that strategy. Real simple.
But insurance too, though.
No, you pay $3,000 a month for a car.
Mhm.
That money's gone, right? It's a liability. It's going to keep going, and usually you probably have negative equity by the time you want to sell your car.
Yeah.
That's the typical mindset, right? What if your payment was $5,000 a month? In your head, you typically think, well, that's a worse deal for me because I'm losing $2,000 more. But what if the car you bought for $700, or let's say $300,000, like a normal Ferrari, it doesn't have to be something crazy.
Yeah.
What if that car was $300 and you made a $5,000 payment instead of a $3,000 lease payment? But 2 years later, when you sold that car, you got $300,000 back. Well, all these payments you made went into the equity of the car. Some of it went to interest, whatever. But there's still equity in the car now because the car didn't depreciate, right?
Yeah.
But what if these other $3,000 cheaper payments, all of it went to lease fees and all kinds of shit. So at the end of it, basically you return your car. The difference is we both had the same car. I had a lower payment, right? You had a lower payment than me because I paid more money per month. But that more money per month was retained in the value of the car. Mm-hmm. So when I went to sell my car, I basically got like my 30, 50 grand back in payments, and you got nothing back. So what do I use for my next car now as a down payment? Well, I got to go get more money and make more money so I can spend more money, right? Mm-hmm. Versus I just retain my money. So I didn't do anything different. All I did is instead of thinking about the monthly payment, I thought by buying the right car, I'm retaining the value. So I'd rather pay more per month as long as the more is being stored in the car, rather than thinking in what can I afford per month. I need to look at the overall cost of what is this asset going to, what does it cost now, what is it going to be cheaper for?
See, that's the business mindset. You're looking at the exit from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's smart. Okay.
Same thing with marriage, right? You always look at the potential issues. You go, what happens if I need to exit? Well, that's what you have prenups for.
Speaking of marriage, you're a married man now.
Yeah.
How has that changed your lifestyle since from back in the day you were more single, doing your thing? What's changed?
Nothing.
Same?
Yeah, like I mean, I've always wanted a family. That's the only reason you should get married. You should never get married, period, in America, unless you want a family. It's fucking worthless.
I agree, 100%.
It's completely fucking useless. Like, it's a government getting involved in your personal life. Like, what the fuck for? There's only the benefit of, carrying the same last name or things like that are relevant only if you have a family, like if you have children and stuff. But
yeah,
otherwise, no.
And being a dad, what's that like?
That actually didn't change my life that much.
No?
No, and I'll tell you, a lot of people, like, I guess one of the reasons that I think it changes a lot of people's lives is because it gives them a sense of purpose. And I've always had a very different sense of purpose, to like a personal sense of purpose. And I've also been a very conscious person. And as a conscious person, you realize that consciousness is single-player sport. It's not living life through the eyes of others. So I love my family, and I love being able to pass on knowledge, right? And being able to help bring forward, like, the future. But at the same time, it doesn't change my personal outlook on life personally. Does that make sense? Like, my life experience is different as an individual than it is as a dad. So it's like, basically, these are two different things. I can fail at one, not fail at the other, or vice versa, or be great at both. But they don't really intertwine in a way where it's like, because I have a child now, I'm super additionally motivated.
Yeah.
No, like, I was fucking rich, I'm going to get richer. It doesn't fucking change anything. Like, I'm not getting richer for my kids. I'm glad that I'm able to give them a better baseline start that I had growing up poor, right? Like, meaning I didn't have a baseline of knowledge, and I have a baseline of, like, connections, network, and, what I want to do in my life and how to go about it. So I had 10 years of learning curve. Well, my kid's not going to have 10 years of learning curve, right? Like, she's going to be like, boom, much faster. I can go down this direction, and I have some guidance and some funding, whatever I want to do. That's the power of compounding knowledge. It's the same thing, but I don't think that it has any correlation on my personal life.
Yeah, I think most of us are lacking guidance nowadays, and we look to people that are not, I would say, authorities in their field for advice sometimes, and it leads down a bad path. So that's a good point. Real quick, so back on the car stuff. When should somebody buy a car? Because I think they should wait, not buy right now, until we see what happens when Trump gets in office and things happen more along those lines. But what do you think? When should someone buy a car?
So it depends what they're buying. So if you look at buying anything, you have to stop looking at it as a car is a car. A car is originally transportation. Now they are cars that are leisure driven, right? Exotics are not just transportation. You don't need a Ferrari to go somewhere. You just need a car. Yeah. These are different classes of people buying stuff. So if you are buying, let's say Kia, well, you can fucking buy Kia anytime. Doesn't fucking matter. It's going to depreciate the shit anyways. You're going to lose your money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And the argument is actually contradictory to some people believe. I believe Trump coming in office will trigger inflation more rather than less. I know there's some people that feel like the world's going to get cheaper. I think that's the giant confusion they have about a Trump administration. It favors the rich, not the middle class at all. It never has. It never will. Like, there is no part in that where they do tax cuts for rich people that help the middle class. Now, I'm not a Democrat, nor do I give a shit, but there is, and Democrats are morons. They fucked this country up for the last fucking 20 years.
I agree.
That's not, that's a different argument here altogether. But financial policy of Republicans is always driven around business owners, individuals who are independent of the system. They're talking about getting rid of the IRS, getting rid of institutions.
Yeah.
Those things don't favor fucking poor people. They favor rich people.
So, guys, if you're listening, that means get rich now. Don't wait.
No, because if you buy stuff and it's going to cost more later, buy it now. Like we don't think interest rates are going to drop anyways. They're going to probably stabilize, maybe drop another half a point at best. At best, and that's a good thing if they do that even. So I don't think people should wait. I've been telling people in my community to buy whatever positions they were going to take in exotic cars and watches and markets end of last year, like last quarter. I was like, that's your last shot at getting really cheap shit.
Do it now.
Before the switch starts occurring. And in January, we saw record sales. First 2 weeks, car business, watch business, like all of my students are like, I can't stop getting orders for stuff. I'm making more money than I've made before. I don't understand. Like where did this come from? He's not even in office. It's the confidence in the market.
It's the hope and the confidence that you're saying that he's going to come and change things around.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the confidence that he's not going to fuck things up worse. Meaning people are like confident that basically they can invest money in whatever path they're going to take. They're not going to have a surprise where they're going to get cut if they have money. So that's like where people are afraid because they're like, oh, I need cash reserves, right? When you have Republicans in office, they're like, let's get aggressive. Markets are probably going to go up. I can put money in play, things like that. So markets usually soar whenever you have Republicans in office because free markets are, more favored. And they usually lower taxes on capital gains. Lower taxes allow better tax write-offs and things like that. So
speaking of soaring markets, back in 2021, 2023, around there, everything was high. People were buying, getting hella loans, getting whatever they needed done because they're giving loans to anybody. People bought cars, like myself. We bought cars that were overinflated with price. Now it went down. The market went down. Obviously, now you're basically underwater. How does someone get out of a underwater car? For example, meaning that you've paid maybe $400K for a car that was worth $200K. How does someone get out of that deal and not lose too much, if at all?
I have some bad news for you, though. Money doesn't just appear in trees when you fuck up and buy stupid shit.
Oh man,
are you talking from personal experience?
Yes, and non-personal. I got friends, myself, even someone watching.
You're pulling that asking for a friend shit.
Okay, hold on. For me too. How does someone legally get out of this without being destroyed? But then again, can you even get out of it is the question.
So no, you can't. Well, so can you get out of a loan where you're $200K negative? No, you gotta pay it. So you're fucked. You're either bankruptcy or you fucking default. Or default on the loan, and then you can't loan on another car.
Yeah.
The better option or opportunity now, and this is happening in the market because there's a lot of people that made that mistake between 22 and 23. They bought shit astronomical values, right? And then it dropped. And so one thing you're seeing in the entire car business across the board is a lot of people are trading what they call modern supercars and luxury cars for a lot of collector grade cars that have been on fire lately and been going up like crazy. Like to give you an example, Aventadors have dropped significantly, like regular Aventadors, which are modern supercars, have come down huge. During COVID, they were like 500. Then they came down to like 350. So you're losing like 150 grand, right? Yeah. So that guy is trying to basically take that loss and say, fuck it, I fucked up and I lost 150. And he's trying to buy an LP640 right now, an older one, because that car over the last 60, 90 days has gone from 200 to 350. Now it's trending to 500-600. So they're trying to make up that loss. I'm not saying that they had a loan and somehow they converted it over to something else. I'm saying that loss can be recouped now because there's a significant shift in the industry where people aren't liking these new hybrid cars.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of good offerings from modern supercars now for the next wave of what's coming, so people aren't excited about it. And there has been a huge surplus of demand for 90s, 2000s, and 2010 supercars. And people have felt not only they're economically more liable, they're not like hybrid motors where they don't understand what happens to the values and they get crushed. And at the same time, they feel better because there's upside to the car. So if they own it for the next 10 years while there's uncertainty and what's going up, what's going down, what's going to happen to hybridization, then...
And they sound better too.
Yeah, I mean, they're better to drive. I mean, they're cooler to drive.
Okay, be honest here. Revuelto, Lamborghini. Was it worth it? I don't like how it looks, how it sounds, but to me, what do you say?
So I've owned well over 300 cars.
Bills, could you bring his Instagram real quick as well?
I currently own 36 cars. So I own everything from Bugattis to...
Is it here on the page, right? I believe. Come down.
Yeah, you
should be there, the Revuelto.
Yeah, right
down.
there.
Yeah, silver one. Yeah, well, blue.
Yeah,
inside.
It's great.
Great.
Gray with Tiffany blue interior. Yeah.
So what'd you do to it? Obviously, the rims, of
I just
course.
did the wheels and lowered it. I put the wheels back to stock. I didn't like those, so I said, fuck it. I'm just leaving it stock. But I spec'd that a year and a half ago. It finally came in.
I'm not gonna lie, that inside is crazy, bro, with the blue.
Yeah. It's actually Tiffany blue, so it's really, really pretty.
Did you spec it from the factory,
of
of course?
Yeah, a year and a half ago, like before the Revueltos were even like announced.
Okay, estimate how much profit you're gonna make off this car. Estimate.
So I'm gonna probably break even after a year. I'm not going to make any money off this car. Historically, lease residuals on these cars are like 90%, which is really high for a hybrid car. So that's like 70K off MSRP because it's a 750K car.
Yeah.
But because of the spec, being so special and like Tiffany blue interior and stuff, someone will pay sticker for this car after I drive it 3,000 miles. But it has a 1-year restriction from Lamborghini because all the Revueltos did. So I'm going to get rid of it after driving it a year. I'm not going to lose anything. Now, what do I think about it? What did I think about the first Aventador? I hated it. I thought it was garbage in 2012. As they got newer variations, the S, the SVJ, the SVs, I started liking them a lot. Now, I'll tell you this. It drives really good, and it's fast as fuck, and it sounds really good in race mode, like really, really good. The sound system in it is dog shit. It's got, like dog shit. Like, a Kia probably has a better like stereo system.
Damn.
Dog shit. And then the steering wheel has like 42 fucking buttons on it and modes and shit. So in order to get in the car and actually drive, you got to turn on the car, then turn off the hybrid system, turn on the performance system. Then, it's fucking retarded. You can't just like get in it and enjoy it without feeling like you're turning on a jet fighter and you're about to go to war. So like it has a completely disconnected feel from this sense of like driving, but they've made it so much more usable. Now, as far as design, I think it's fucking beautiful. Like I've seen.
You think so? I think it's ugly, man.
I'm telling you, it's not about the cars are ugly when they're in the wrong specs. I can't tell you enough how I've seen and bought cars where I'm like, oh, I bought a black on white car or some shit. And I'm like, God, this thing's fucking ugly. And then I buy another one like 6 months later in the right color spec. Like I get the one that I've been waiting for. It's like pink or like baby blue or some shit. And I'm like, holy shit, this thing's hot. And colors and specs, like having the right carbon fiber options, having everything else really make the cars. And also picking the right color for the right car. A lot of people that pick Revueltos buy them in bright colors like yellow, purple, and all that shit. Those are really bad colors for that car. Aventadors and large cars like that need darker theme colors. They need non-matte paint and they need pastel-based dark colors. So they do really well if they're well modified in like matte black. They do really, really well in what I call Grigio Telesto, which is what I did. And usually you'll have guys come up and say, I don't like the Revuelto, but I like your Revuelto. And that's also what you want when you go resell the car too. You want people to be like, yeah, I'll pay for that one. I wasn't going to pay a lot for this other one because I didn't love it, right? Because you're emotional and most buyers are emotional.
Yeah, I just want the car so bad, I'll just pay for it.
Exactly. So you see, I thrive on that to get rich.
That is an issue that I've overcome now. I've overcome the issue. But that was one of my
The guy that sells you cars is getting really rich. I see his inventory getting better all the time.
killing it, bro, killing it. He's doing a very good job. He's doing a very good job. Shout out to him.
Nice dude.
Actually, did you buy the Bugatti from him?
No, fuck no.
What you
He's
buy?
been trying to buy me a Bugatti. I just bought my Ferrari Pista from him.
There you go, there
But
you
that was like a while ago. And it wasn't really, I've chased that car. Another guy in Miami bought it and traded it to him.
Oh.
And then I immediately called him, and he's a nice dude. He gave it to me. He just recently bought my Senna from me, meaning I didn't buy it from him. He bought it to sell it. So
Okay.
The one that used to belong to Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's now in his inventory. So
Does having a celebrity drive a car make it sell better?
fuck no, it fucks it up more. Now, at least Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats are like reputable people. You
Yeah.
know, we're not talking about some fucking dipshit that like
Yeah.
probably had no idea what they were doing.
Respect the car.
They're car people. You
Drive
know,
the
they have a
car.
history of having cars.
Yeah.
And that's a cool story. It's not like gonna make it worth more. It had a cool, like, it was white with a full blue carbon fiber interior. It was different. You know, it was exciting. But it wasn't like more money because they fucking touched it, you know?
Yeah.
Not that it matters, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, I remember I was looking for a Rolls Royce one time, and I was like, "Oh, this is Kylie Jenner's ex car." I'm like,
That's even worse.
I'm like-
yeah, you definitely don't fucking want
I don't
it.
care if it was her ex car.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you telling me this for?
Yeah, you don't fucking want it. Now, sometimes because they spend so much money decking them out and customizing them,
Yeah.
depending on which shop did it, the shop that did it might have enough clout where that matters. You know, if they did it correctly.
Yeah.
Like Platinum in LA, you know, shout out to those guys. They do a great job modifying cars. Sometimes they have a lot of celebs, you know, like clients. I would buy one of their cars, you know, if they did it. But if someone told me Kim Kardashian fucked around with it for 2 years, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not buying
good.
that. I'm not touching it.
Okay, this is the fun part, right? This is your wheelhouse here.
Okay.
So let's say I want to buy a car as a guy for looks factor, either to get girls, to look business-like, to look like that guy.
To get fucked.
Put us in categories. Put us in
Okay. I like it.
Can we put in categories certain cars? Like, for example, I think the Aston Martin is a nice car, entry level for a guy.
But
getting into.
most chicks won't want to fuck a guy with an Aston because they won't even know what the fuck it is.
True. Okay, you tell me
Yeah.
what cars a guy should buy for girls.
Number
for
one
business.
car to get fucked in, a Rolls.
Those work.
The Rolls is automatically symbol of wealth, not a symbol of douchery. So the general public, which we're using generic pussy that doesn't understand how money works because girls are basically on girl math territory. They
Yeah.
think every Rolls Royce is the same, every Lambo is the same, right?
Yeah.
So
Is that a Ferrari?
yeah, so the Rolls will get you more laid because you come across as a real businessman and you come across as a humble brag rather than like a person that's like, I need attention. And usually bitches are like, I want guys that are like, have a lot of money and
But humble.
self-respect, but aren't seeking pussy all day long with a bright fucking yellow car, you know? Because I don't want to be the hoe that got in the fucking Lamborghini, like when the doors went up, like all the other hoes that did that. So they typically go for that. Like that's the easy, like power move on pussy. You know, it's the Rolls all the time.
Okay. I thought
And
it
the bigger the Rolls, you know, the more pussy you get.
Yo, I'll tell you this: the back seat has a lot of space. There's a lot of space in that back seat. I'll tell you that.
That's not, I just meant like if you have Phantoms and Cullinans, they get more pussy than if you have the like Poverty Ghost or some of these other like
Bro,
Wraiths and shit.
I can't tell you how many guys in Miami I see drive around with a 2014 Ghost, and I'm like,
Bro, that's because it's like 75 grand now and they can
Yeah.
afford it.
I'm like, bro, you're not fooling me. You can fool someone on the street, but we know what it is. It's like,
But
bro,
that's the Miami lifestyle, dude. You have to
Yeah.
understand that
Yeah.
that's how they think, right?
Yeah.
They think if I have a Rolls, I have a stronger chance of attracting dumb bitches that don't understand anything. And listen, they're right.
yeah.
The shit could have 200,000 miles. It's going to blow up anyways.
They would never
The
know.
bags are exploded. It's on the floor. But the guy's like, I drive a Rolls Royce when he's talking to his friends at dinner, you know?
That's a good point. That's a
That's
good
the
point.
Miami lifestyle.
See,
Like,
I thought for girls it would have been a G-Wagon because they know that car very well.
no, girls want a G-Wagon. They don't care if a guy has a G-Wagon.
Okay.
They personally want a G-Wagon. So if they see you as like marriage material, they probably want the G-Wagon because they want to fucking drive it next, you know, like, and that's what they want. But generally, girls don't like want to fuck guys because of G-Wagons.
Okay, let's say I want to get into the respect game of men. Obviously, I'm doing well for myself.
Man or woman? Because
Man.
earlier, okay.
So-
okay, I'm just making sure we're
The
not
girl part's
confused.
finished.
Okay.
Rolls Royce, hands down. But let's say I'm a guy that wants to like, I've done well in business. I want to show that I'm doing pretty well to other men to network and make connections. What's a good car to get into? You would say exotic wise.
So then I would look at Rolls again,
Okay.
Ferrari, or Aston is going to be more value bang for the buck. And unless it also depends the circle you're getting in. If you're in Miami, like driving a Huracan, you're basically a peasant. You're like it's like poverty central, you know?
Yo, yeah.
It depends on where you live, right?
You know, there's so many Huracans here. It's like a Toyota.
I know,
They're everywhere.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if you drive like an old Bentley,
Yeah.
you're a peasant. Like you're basically driving like a fucking advanced Volvo. You know, like it doesn't matter. Like that,
Yeah.
and people don't understand how these things work. But
Yeah.
so they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" Like a Bentley is like a very respectable car, but that's not how this works. There's levels to the game, right? Like so, if you want to be with the flash, then obviously Ferraris, Lamborghinis do better, right? But depending on the crowd you're with, a respectable, well-spec'd Rolls, Wraith, Dawn, can be bought for under the price of a Huracan. Let's
Yes.
talk about like value plays, right? Most people who are successfully okay, not like balling out of control, normal guys making $200,000-300K a year, can easily afford a Rolls-Royce Wraith or a Dawn, like a convertible. And if the spec is good and the car is clean, that will go way further for you than having a Huracan.
I agree.
Make sense? Like, and it's just not as much of a rented car either. So because of that, it's more like, oh, that's an owner, not like some guy with a bright fucking green car driving down South
Renting it.
Beach trying to, like get pussy. So that gives you more of a, like, I have a business, I like cars, I have this respectable, beautiful car. This, just so you know, from a money standpoint, the spec of what you drive says a lot about you, because it says either I really knew my car and I'm an enthusiast and I bought this and I enjoy driving and this is why I have this, or it says basically I'm trying to show off. So there's a very big difference between I have an SVJ even, just because I bought an SVJ, to I bought this very precise, very collector grade SVJ and I'm driving it, And different people get attracted to different things. So like young people that are men are going to be attracted to whatever's flashy because that's what they've seen on Instagram.
Yeah.
And just like older people are going to be attracted to classics because they know their worth and they understand what things are, right? So depending on the crowd you want to get in, you're going to have to rethink like, how do I want to network with people? Who do I want to network with, right? And what is my purpose for driving this car?
Good point.
And if you can do that, there's plenty of cars you can get into. And with Exotic Car Hacks, the beauty of it is you're not married to a car. So, you're dating the car. You date it for like 6 months to a year. You go, this wasn't me, right? And I don't love this. Like, I'm going to buy something different or I want something sportier. I mean, the best bangs for the buck in today's economy are brand new 911 Turbo S.
Okay.
The new one, $200,000. Like amazing all around car. You can daily it. You can drive it fast. It's fucking beautiful. You can mod it if you want, and it's great.
Porsche 911. Okay.
Yeah, like amazing car. Like amazing car. Holds value well. If you buy it correctly. So like you could drive it for free forever. Same with the Wraith and the Dawn. And then another car that doesn't hold value well, but is fantastic fucking car for the money. 22 Bentley GT Speed convertible, like the new body, the newer, beautiful car, great all around the car, super respectable, super fast, just a great car. It's like those are the kind of cars that are like, hey, I only have one car in my life. I want a respectable fuck you car without like losing my ass on it. Those are the cars you'd probably like go around with and still get mad respect from both angles.
Okay,
girls,
perfect.
guys,
Everybody.
like all around the kind of like no one's gonna make fun of you and be like, dude, what the fuck? What are you trying too hard?
So Porsche 911 Turbo S, and then of course Bentley.
The new Bentley, not the old Bentley. That's the poverty one. Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
What if I'm a beginner? I just started making like 100K.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm all right.
I always tell people, like,
I like it.
if you're new to the car game, buy a fucking, like, super easy 2018 to 2020 R8 Cooper Spider V10.
Spider all day.
Doesn't matter. I mean, they're both fucking fine. You'll pay like 140 to 150 if you buy the right car. Don't buy the cheap shit you see on the internet for like 110 that was rented to like 19 guys.
Yeah.
Just buy the right car for 150. Don't buy cheap shit. You'll drive that car. You'll get out of it for 150. But you'll learn everything about the car game. The first thing is, no one's going to fuck with you because you have an R8, which is a cool car. And it's like the, hey, I have a nice car, but I'm not trying too hard. The other thing, too, is they don't fucking break down.
Yeah,
So they're like the Porsches. They're like really easy fucking cars. So as you're getting new to the game and you don't want like 10 grand in expenses, 20 grand in expenses, it's like the training wheel to exotic cars. It's like, hey, and also they're not too low. So as you're getting on and off driveways and shit, you don't have like, rip my bumper apart, etc. And one of the things people don't realize is they think as soon as they have money, they have to compete. with everybody else. They're like, oh, I made some money. I go quickly. These other guys have SVJs. I got to go buy an SVJ. This is what creates poverty. It's this idea of comparing yourself to people. That's what makes you really fucking poor.
Good point.
Competing with people is one thing, but competing with yourself is the number one thing. And if you can start with an R8 and ensure you know how to drive, you don't create chaos, you build a network, and you get respectable network of friends that own supercars, what's going to happen from that is you're going to evolve into your next car without having a $30,000 blown bumper on the next car, buying a lemon because you didn't know what the fuck you were doing, not knowing who's going to repair your car when shit goes bad and you spend 30 grand at a dealership. These are the small things that people are like, I want an SVJ now. Like, I'm not going to learn the game. So they're like, I'm going to go straight to the top. And these mistakes are costly, dude. Like, it's the same as wearing a nice watch. If you've never worn a nice watch and you have some money and the first watch you buy is an RM, well, here are the problems. You scratches because you're not paying attention. Well, that cost is significant. Hey, you didn't pay attention. You walked in the wrong place. You got robbed because you weren't paying attention and you didn't know how to behave with a $250,000 watch.
That is
on.
very true.
Right? So these little things are basically the training wheels of learning and progressing. But fucking young people always want to go to the top without learning the journey, And that's the biggest reason why people just make themselves poor year and year over.
I'm going to take that to the bank. Walk slow so I can go faster than a Lamborghini.
Well, I think walk slow until you have a clear view on how to deal with something. Like people rush to the front of the line only to not realize the game they're about to play. And then they get fucking hit. And then the hit hurts. And then they go, I set myself back 10 years. So that's the problem. Like you have to, don't just walk. It's okay not to be number one for a couple of years. Like just stand back and be like, I can see what's going on. I get the game. I get where I fit in the game. Here's my inadequacies, and here's how I have to deal with them. In 3 years, I'll be number one in the game. And that's the key to the game. Like, I didn't give a shit growing up if someone thought I was poor if I drove a fucking cheap R8. That was okay with me because I was poor in context to what other people had, right? And I wasn't competing with them. I was like, at my stage now, I'm at R8 stage. My next step is a Lamborghini. My next step is an Aston, whatever that is. And you gradually grow from there. But if you don't learn the game through the smaller things, the oops get expensive and they add up. And then next thing you know, you're like, well, I made $1 million this year. But, oh shit, I lost 700 grand on these stupid fucking mistakes. Versus the other guy's like, well, I made the same $1 million. And I start next year with $1 million in my pocket, right? And I didn't make that mistake. Yeah, I didn't have the cool fucking parties you went to. Bottle service, lost all this shit, bought these SVJs. But the next year, I'm going into it with the same $1 million, and I'm still going to make an extra $1 million. And now I can buy a half as good, as better car. And then next year, I'll finally buy the SVJ. But here's the thing they don't pay attention to. The game is a game of retention. It's not a game of acquisition. So it's a game that when you earn success, this is something for anybody that's listening to this shit that wants to be successful in life. Success is a game of retention when you're independent. It's not a fucking game of acquisition. You don't acquire more money, you learn to retain your money because you don't know what's coming next year. So when you're in business and you're independent, you're not relying on a job or the fucking matrix, you have to think ahead. How do I guarantee I can be successful next year? Like right now, I'm planning 2027 and 2028 in my business. I'm not talking about 2025. I don't even give a shit about 25. I was planning that in 23. Like now that I'm in 25, we're executing. The team's executing everything I put in place.
Wow.
I'm working on what businesses, what processes need to be perfected by 27 and 28. And that's what I'm trying to put in place now so that we get good at it by 27 to guarantee that this business survives, and continues to thrive instead of like, oh, we made all the money, I spent everything, and now we're fucking like figuring something out. We're scrambling, So if you want to be successful in life, you have to figure out how to retain the success you've earned. If you bought an R8, you're retaining that by not going to an SVJ too fast so that you can retain that level. So when you do get the SVJ, no one takes that shit away from you.
Don DeMarco, that was great.
Accusations!
That was great. All right, guys, we'll do some chats real quick for a quick break, but that was awesome, by the way. Good stuff, Pejman. Good stuff. Jafit17 says, what does he think of the RR Spectre?
That's the electric Revuelto.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know what's gonna happen here.
yeah.
I already know.
So we always have this vacuum cleaner conversation, right? Okay. So think of anything fully electric, not hybrid. Fully electric as no different than your phone. What is the worth of your phone after much better versions come out? Fucking bumfuck nothing. So the problem with the electrification fully of cars is the mechanical art of it disappears. So when there's no labor to make something and a computer can just like make it 10 times better, then you can improve the car at a significant rate. This is why Teslas have fucking plummeted to shit.
Terrible, bro.
Right, but people don't read, like, they go and buy these electric cars, like, Teslas hold better values than anything else. I'm like, you fucking retards bought Teslas in 2021 when nobody could get a Tesla. Like, well, yeah, no shit, it's going to retain value. But as soon as 2023 came around and no one was buying fucking Teslas, they were fucking piling up. They're like, 80% discount, get rid of these fucking cars, right?
Yeah.
Historically, electric cars are okay for mass transportation. They're depreciating assets. They're going to continue to come down. And if you tell me there's an electric Kia versus a fuel-based Kia, there's no art form to a fucking Kia. It doesn't matter. It's got an electric motor or whatever. If it goes faster, people are happy with it. Exotic cars are about experience and art. So you can't expect something of high value to depreciate at that rate when it can be improved in an instant without any type of art going into it. So the Spectre is a beautiful looking car. And unfortunately, I knew when I ordered one originally, they brought the demo to my office after I ordered one, and they were like, here, now you can test drive it, keep it for a day. I drove it for 10 minutes. I was like, please cancel all my fucking orders. Like, I don't want this fucking thing. And they were like, why? I'm like, it's stupid. It has no soul. It doesn't do anything different than a Ghost. It just looks fucking cool, which means that it's going to lose $200K in the first year it comes out. And they were like, no, Spectres are like highly in demand. Nobody can get one. I was like, okay, fucking car comes out. There's like 70 for sale used on the fucking internet. They're $200K off MSRP already.
My
at
friend
wholesale.
bought one. He lost a lot on it.
Exactly, and it's fucking useless. Like, they're cool looking. Don't get me, when they're modded, they're very fucking pretty. But it's a piece of shit.
Well said. Okay. We got any more chats there? Okay. Bet 8000 says, oh, $100. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you, PJ, Myron, and Fresh for mentoring me, helping me level up. Made $27K from watch trading in 9 months last year, and just purchased $50,000 this month in watches to get out the matrix. Good job, bro. Soon I'll be buying my first luxury car hack, hopefully getting to 100K club. PJ is the real deal. Thank you, Fresh and PJ, for helping me get out the slave matrix. See you on the other side.
Well, appreciate the love there. That's very sweet.
You've helped a lot of people, man, but they don't give you your credit.
Well, I don't know why. Why didn't you tell me why?
Because you're a fucking asshole.
Why
bro.
am I an asshole? Like, I help people. You just told me I help people to make a lot of money.
You help me with some advice, I'll give some advice, right?
Okay.
You need to be out there more, because I feel like you have a lot to share, but you're so focused on the business side, but now you should be seen as authority everywhere.
But does an authority have to be liked? And here's the argument.
It doesn't.
Okay. Because I don't need to be liked to be right.
But the thing is, you're not out there, though. Like, for example, I see other people that try to do what you do.
And they're trying to go out there and fuck the world about what they're doing. But they're not an authority and they suck at it.
But if you go out there and speak the truth, like what you're saying now, I guarantee, like, guys, what he said this whole podcast, if you take it in, really take it in, listen to what he's saying, and follow it, you're going to be a G in business and in life. But then again, people are like, oh, yeah, bro, go get this, go get that, go do this. And it's like, wait,
but I feel like all the cartoons get popular because all they do is bullshit the world into whatever they want to hear. So here's the argument. Like, if you spill the truth, you're not going to appeal to the masses because the masses aren't looking for the fucking truth.
True.
Isn't that isn't that the argument we had earlier? Like, you have to be liked to appeal to the masses because people can't handle the truth. So if I'm like liked, that means I'm spilling bullshit.
See, I had some dinner with some billionaires 2 days ago, and they spoke about being likable and then doing business, right? But then they also spoke about having a co-founder that's the opposite of you. So, for example, let's say you're hardcore, asshole, truth. This is what it is. But someone's like the opposite of you, you can kind of do what you can't do to help the business grow as well. So you may need to find like a psychic or somebody. Maybe.
Psychic, okay. What the fuck kind of advice is that?
I don't know, bro.
Fresh's advice for growing your business: find a psychic. What the
I'm just saying, bro. Co-founder, something, bro. Okay. Fresh updates. W Fresh, shout out to you, bro. Revolt the 19 says, Fresh, you got a hit with this one. I was just thinking a week ago you should do your own show with celebrities. Love the value. Yeah, guys, we're still doing a podcast together with me and Myron, but I'll do shows with more of my friends in my network and celebrities that like you guys may not know or may know of for more personal conversation one-on-one. You know, just some more value for you guys, more content. Screw you, bro. What is this?
What is that? I think that's you.
It was me.
Oh, it is you. Okay.
When this car's activated.
But the nose isn't big enough, though. It's really dark.
Hey!
Well, it's really black, so you can't see it. Like,
When this car is activated, any and all conversations will end, and all the focus will go to reading the chats. Activate when you want to end the show early, so you can go clubbing, aka networking. Bro! Hold on. Let me define myself here, right? So a show has to have an ending, guys. Unfortunately, there's a reason for a show time and an end time. If you have a show running for too long sometimes, it is redundant and it does not gain any value for the viewer. So I like to do things where people, the guests, get to go home at some point, and also you guys can go home and sleep after a while. Now, I know you guys like long streams, understandable, but sometimes the show is done. It's over. We've done the talking point 20 times already. They've done spoken the thing. Or you know what? They're not saying shit anyway, so it can end. That's why I end it. And you know what? I'm proud to end it. Let's move forward. That's it? Cool. All right, Pejman, this was a great interview. I think we got a lot of awesome clips here, and of course, a lot of wisdom. And of course, like always, man, you give me the best advice, and I don't listen. So
I always try. I'll take your advice of finding a sidekick. This is going to be a little bit difficult, but yeah.
I'll take some time.
Okay.
But any last words for the audience? I think if guys, you listen to what you're saying internally, it can help you move forward mentally, physically as well, and business-wise in life.
So I'll tell you, we were talking about being likable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give people a piece of advice about learning and growing in life. The information you need in your life doesn't always come from sources that you like to hear it from.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
In school, your best teachers weren't always the ones you loved to go to class for. Right? So if people want to really grow in life, they're going to have to remove their emotion from information and understand that just because they don't like how information is being given to them, it doesn't mean that the information is irrelevant
Or bad.
or real or usable, but instead they want to feel comfortable while they learn. And learning is fucking discomfort. So stop seeking comfort while you're growing. You're like doing the opposite. That's why you're not fucking growing. So my advice to people is, fine, you like me, don't like me, like the next guy that comes and shares whatever. If the information itself is accurate, then you need to pay attention to it. If the expertise is there and the track record is there,
Experience history is there.
the track record is there, that's the way you know who to learn from, because they're still doing what they're preaching and they've had a long track record of ups and downs doing it. So they can say, like, I've managed to learn this trade to a master level craft. Here's what I'm teaching. And the last thing I'll leave you with, find relevant information to your fucking wallet. Stop looking for information above your wallet. What that means is you don't need financial advice from a billionaire, because the thought process of a billionaire is too far from your reality. There is things I'm sharing today that make sense to you.
Now.
They make sense to you now, and you're like, I got to pay attention now because your income level has risen since you've been here, right, in America, and you've grown to a point where you go, yeah, I've bought an SVG. I know what that's like. I understand what it's like to spend $1 million on a car. Like, I'm not confused, right? When you don't have $1 million to spend, and I give you advice on how to spend $1 million, you're not going to understand why that advice makes sense. And you might actually make really bad moves trying to follow it because you don't understand that, and you try to apply it to how to spend $100,000. You go, hey, this guy said that's how I should do it, so let's go back, and let's do it now, and I'll kind of get there. You don't want to do that because you're going to end up really broke trying to adopt a mindset that someone who is $1 billion, they don't have a survival instinct. They don't give a fuck anymore. They're like, if I do nothing, I make $200 million a year. Okay. Why the fuck would anything that person says have any relevance on a guy that's like trying to make 10 grand?
And survive.
Nothing, right? Like, so what I'm saying is you have to kind of learn from people that are 2 steps ahead of you, not 100 steps ahead of you. Because when they were 2 steps ahead of you, it was a different time. Things were different. They weren't running the same. Like there were a lot of different things. Like fucking the internet didn't even exist. So like what they got successful at is significantly different than what you can get successful at. So learn from people that are 2 steps ahead of you and kind of compete with yourself to mimic that behavior so you can end up there. Once you're there, go 3 steps ahead. Once you're 3 steps ahead, go 5 steps ahead. you'll get better at it. But the further you look, the less you'll correlate to how to actually apply shit. And then you'll be like, I have a lot of knowledge and I basically done jack shit in my life.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
This is why PJ is a good mentor, man. He tells you what you don't want to hear, but it's the truth. Well, guys, bring in his page real quick. Learn from PJ.com and his Instagram. You can find him there, guys, as well. On Instagram, he always posts nice cars, lifestyle, and of course, give him a follow. And you should do some more podcasts, man, this year, for sure. I'll connect you with some
I will
people.
try.
Gotcha.
I will try. As long as maybe people will like me, I'll find a psychic first, and maybe you'll be my psychic.
Who knows, man? Who knows, bro? But no, you have a lot to share, and I think people need to hear it. You've helped me a lot, my friends a lot, so thank you for being
Always
the
happy.
asshole that people
Listen, I'm a
love to hate.
teacher at heart. I will always do what I do, that I'm loved or hated for it. I don't know how to have another purpose, so this is what I do.
And guys, this is a fresh start. The podcast I'm doing solo by myself for now. If you guys don't mind, sub to my channel Rumble. Link is down below, and as well YouTube. And support us, man. We're starting fresh, a fresh start, so you can understand how you can start fresh as well for the new year. All right, guys, we're out of here, man. Great episode, and peace.